Welcome back. Tonight, I'm going to take you guys back 42 years. The year is 1983. A 10-year-old Stan Jesionowski just got his VIC-20 and a game called Demon Attack. This game was the greatest thing that ever happened to a 10-year-old Stan Jesionowski. And tonight, I'm going to show you how we can recreate it using Claude Code and Google Stitch. What I've done is I've taken the liberty to already go into Gemini and tell it I want to recreate my childhood dreams, Demon Attack, and I had it go search about Demon Attack and kind of come up with the Claude prompt for it. So, well, not the Claude prompt, excuse me. I had it come up with the Gemini Stitch prompt. So, and then I copied that prompt into Gemini Stitch. I bantered back and forth with it. And then I came up with these three screens. You know, it's not quite 1983 retro pixelated, but it's close. It looked pretty cool. So the only bug part was here. It was kind of overlapping, but we'll see if Claude Code can fix that. So next thing I did was I just copied this image out to Google Gemini and I said, hey, write the prompt for Claude Code. We're going to write this in Opus 4.6 and write the prompt for me. And so it came here, it already wrote the prompt. And now what we're ready to do is go into Android Studio. And we are ready to build the directory structure. Choose New Flutter Project here. Choose Next. We'll call this Demon Attack. Right? The coolest game on the VIC-20. We're just going to do it in Android to keep it simple. Uncheck the rest here. By the way, this has to be lowercase. Let's choose Create. All right, there we go. Okay, there we go. Our folder structure's already made. Let's go into Terminal. Okay, and we're going to have to launch Claude here. So we put that in Test, change directory, Demon Attack. There we go. And now we're going to launch Claude. We'll let it ask us questions. We aren't going to launch it in the one where it doesn't ask any questions. And now what we're going to do is we're going to copy these images, right, that we had taken. We're going to copy that right into here. You'll see here it's attached that image. Okay. Now we want to copy that prompt that we had done. Right there, you'll see that we copied that prompt. And let's let it run and see what questions it has for us. Now, what I could have done was like the skip asking of questions and all that. So that one is, I've got that saved here in my templates. It's Claude dangerously skip permissions. I could have done that and it wouldn't have asked us near as many questions, but it may still ask us some questions here. All right. We're back for our first question here. We'll go ahead and just choose the default here. Shared preferences, right? We'll just do built-in state, right? Submit answers. There we go. That's simple enough. Burning through some tokens here. I'm using the Claude Code Opus 4.6 tonight. I've got the max plan. I currently have, it's the $200 plan. I think next month I'm going to scale it back and just do like the, I'm going to just do the $100 plan. I don't think I ever hit my limits on this thing. We'll say yes. Okay, there we go. And yes again. All right, we'll see how it's doing here. So we'll see how Claude Opus does at this. So far, I've been really impressed with Claude Opus. You know, last night I thought it had an error, so I told it, I was like, your change didn't work. And then it came back to me and it said, no, my change worked. Your emulator didn't work. It somehow checked out my emulator and knew it didn't work. It knew it's right. It's pretty confident. So, you know, I'm more amazed every week with Claude and its abilities. That the new Opus 4.6, this thing's a game changer. It's really incredible. So, you know, what's pretty cool about this is it just went out. I'm pretty sure it went out and it looked up my VIC-20 Demon Attack game. So it just told me good research. Now let me design the implementation plan. So, now I've been also testing, like AI Studio, speed-wise, AI Studio is still quicker. My go-to for everything is Claude Code, anything I'm writing in production, right? Um, Now, the only thing is when you do like iterations of this or you have different versions, it's very important to understand like version control, right? What we're doing now, we'd call it version 1. Now, in the future, if I go to make any changes, I make it version 2, right? And we have any problems with that, we can always roll back to version 1. What does this say here? Do you want to allow Claude to fetch this? Yes, I do. Okay. Okay, we will let it fetch it. All right, so it looks like it's going out and getting some video game stuff right now as we speak. But what I was talking about was like version control. And if you're new to vibe coding, I think it's really important that you understand version control because it's the way that you back up your data, you kind of log your changes, especially if you're working on a team, you check out the program, check it back in for the team. And then the other thing I think is really important is some of you kind of want to go out on your own, start your own business. You want to create software like a SaaS based software. If you're going to do that, you'll want to research multi-tenant. What multi-tenant would do is it split up your application logins, and it would add a thing called like organization in there so that your organization's data doesn't bleed over into your neighbor's organization, right? Two different businesses using the same database, but you don't want them to see your stuff and vice versa. So that's what multi-tenant is. So both of those things, version control and multi-tenant, are great topics to understand. I plan on writing some tutorials about both of those topics probably next month. So stay tuned for that one. When I talk about version control or, multi-tenant, nothing puts my wife to sleep quicker. So it's bad when I'm techie, I'm complete right brain, she's creative left brain. You know, I try to explain these concepts of version control. Boy, she's probably like, this is like watching paint dry, you know. I get excited about it. I get excited about vibe coding, AI, all the new stuff, all the new agents we've got. This has been, quite the 2026 already. But right here, we're going back to like 1983. So I got my first computer, what was it, about 43 years ago, almost. It was a VIC-20. So I'm 52. And it was a VIC-20. I got that one video game. So it was my first video game ever. And I just played that thing all the time. It was awesome. And we got this magazine. It was called Compute Magazine. And I like to say that's like the OG for vibe coding, because what it would do is every month you'd get this magazine in your mailbox, you'd run out, and they had like special issues once in a while where it was like they would write all the code in there to create your own video games. So all I had was Demon Attack. So every time an issue had like a video game that I could code in, right, I would go get that magazine and I would code that. So it was awesome. So, all right. So this is still, we're still in the planning phase. We aren't even in the building phase yet. So, this is much more difficult than the old to-do lists or the planner apps. Last night I thought the one I did last night was pretty cool. That was a Eisenhower matrix. So that one's pretty neat. If anybody's into like productivity hacks and stuff like that, I think that one's a pretty neat one, where the Eisenhower matrix basically says the first question is, does this really need to be done? And if the answer is no, you just don't do it. And that's a lot of stuff in life where it's just, it doesn't move the needle either way if you don't do it. So you just don't do it. The next thing in an Eisenhower matrix is, can you delegate it? Right. And probably a bigger question on that one is, I can delegate it, but I can't afford to delegate it. So sometimes you got to do it yourself. So if you do it yourself, is it critical? So if it's critical, it goes into like the batch one, right? That's got to be done first. And then your batch two is you can't delegate it and it needs to be done. So that's batch two. Batch three is delegation. And batch four is basically you don't do it, you just delete it. So that was my app last night that I built. So that was pretty cool. So this is still planning. This is going to be a banger, I can tell. I mean, it's really digging in pretty good here. So web search, man, it's really planning. Press start to play. So it's searching here. It says web search, Google Fonts, Flutter package. So it looks like, I bet it's trying to search those. I wonder if it's searching the retro fonts. So, okay, well, the CLI here is moving. Hopefully it does something. Okay, there it goes. Excellent research. Wow. This thing does a lot of research. That is one thing I've noticed, the difference in um, Opus 4.6 versus Opus 4.5. The research on this stuff is amazing. And the quality control, I've noticed the quality control is so good. There's very few times that these things aren't almost one-shotted where it's like working, the first time. Okay, so here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's saying, what's that saying? Run Flutter pub get after pub spec changes. Okay, good. Fresh Flutter project. Okay. Wow. It's just getting into here. Look at this. Phase 1 foundation, right? That's all we're on. So now it's writing the code. See that? Let me make this a little bigger so we can actually watch it code up here. I'm going to say yes. Oops. All right. Okay. So all right, there we go. Okay, so boy, hopefully this thing starts cooking soon. Otherwise, it's going to be like a 50-minute video. But as I was saying, let's see, we've already talked about, what should we talk about? That's a common question. Oh, getting these things published on Android or iOS. iOS is like $99, and I think it's a yearly fee. I think I pay it every year. And that's a yearly fee, and that's where you submit it, and then they'll do their quality check, and you banter back and forth with them until you get it approved. The Android's much cheaper. It's only like $25. I think it's lifetime for the Android. So it's a lot cheaper. Here we go. It's right in the code here. It's body. There we go. Center is a layout. Excuse me. Is a layout widget. Takes a single child, positions it. Okay. So still in phase 1. Only 7 more phases to go. So, so tomorrow, I think I'm going to start on a bigger, like, ERP style package. I've got my business, which is Just Digital. So a lot of times I like to write any software that I have to purchase for my company. I'd kind of rather just write it myself because it's kind of fun. So I'm thinking about writing like this kind of mini, it's not really an ERP, but kind of like just a big portal for me that would track, my invoices, my expenses, my SOPs. Some of the other things I was thinking about writing was like a video schedule for this, my YouTube, and kind of like a social media schedule. I'd like to have that. I'd like to do like a planning, um, you know, because right now I just use my calendar, but I kind of like what I did yesterday with that Eisenhower matrix. I was kind of thinking of building off of that. So this thing is gonna take forever. I'm gonna spend a gazillion tokens. I got plenty left for this month, so plenty left. I don't think I'm gonna run out of tokens this month. But Opus 4.6 is uses quite a bit more tokens than the 4.5. So, but tell me what you guys down in the comments. Tell me what you guys are working on. What pet projects you guys got going on. Are you using Flutter at all to build some of at least the directory structure out, or what are you guys doing? I like Flutter. I like to stay in the Google ecosystem. I like Firebase on the back end, which is a backend as a service, right? I like the Flutter because it just sets everything up, sets all the directories up. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. So it sets all the directories up, and then my favorite is Claude Code 4.6. It's just amazing, right? I really like the whole Google ecosystem because of, on the back end, like we were speaking of, was Firebase. With the Firebase, you can have it do all the authentication. So with this, if I wanted to tie it back in with authentication, I could do Firebase and make everybody log on using a Google, iPhone, Facebook, some sort of login there, or Microsoft login, or all of the above, really. You've got then you got the Firestore, which is like the NoSQL, and then the Firebase storage. That's where you put your PDFs and your video files. And then they've also got a data connect. So if you got some large database, like a big CRM, like a Salesforce SaaS type system, you can go build a Google Cloud Postgres database and utilize Data Connect, and it'll connect that right to your Firebase. So here we are. So, okay, so it's still working on the foundation. So hopefully once the foundation's done, hopefully phase 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goes a little bit quicker. Oh, look at that. It did go quicker. It's done. Wow, the foundation on these video games. By the way, this is the first video game I've done. And I thought, why not do retro? Because retro is probably easier. And it's like, if you could have written it, 40 years ago, you can write it now with AI. Okay, so there it goes. It looks like it's done. So let's go see here. All right, now let's go check this out. We've got Demon Tech. Let's go run the device. I guess I should have done this when I was babbling. Okay, we're gonna load it up on a Pixel 9 Pro. So what this emulation does, we probably need to reboot this thing. So this is my Eisenhower matrix still from yesterday. I wonder, let's check it out. Let's check it out, see if it'll know to start the new app. So I would assume it would. So this log down here, this console is pretty nice because if I get any bugs and anything when it's doing this Gradle task the first time, because this usually takes a little while, if I get anything, a bug, the messages will be right here. You just copy those bugs right into Claude Code Terminal, the CLI, and it'll just usually fix them right there. So, okay, so this is still running here. Now, the first time you run it, it's pretty slow. Well, first time it's going against the emulator here. There, okay, so there we go. Okay, so it did load the new app. Oh, check that out. Got it. Viewing full screen. Let's check this out. Look at this. Is this cool or what? Okay, got it. Demon Attack got all right. The retro here. Uh-oh, start button doesn't work. Okay, so, all right, so we gotta go tell it the start button doesn't work. Okay, so let's go back here and say start button doesn't work. Okay, so it'll do its thing. It looks pretty cool. It knows what it thinks wrong with the onload. So let's go see right here. Okay, let's see if I can swipe some of this stuff up, get it off. Get off my emulator. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's see what it says here. Okay, try running it again. Okay, so we'll go back over here, hit the play button again. Okay, there's a, nope. Can't click on anything. Or was that just loading it from the last time? Bring this in a little bit here. Okay, nope, same error. Okay, so same error. We'll see if it comes back. This is where it gets real smart, where it's like, no, you didn't restart your emulator, right? And this is what happened to me last night. Let's see if it does it, if it catches that, because I bet it's something like that. Okay, so I'll give it a note here, a little nudge. Do I need to restart the emulator or just hit play? And then I can also run it from here. So if it talk to it and have it directly go into that emulator. And it says it's razzle dazzling here. So hopefully third time's the charm. So, but let's see here. It's a minute 30. Come on, think. So right here it says score manager is now created at field declaration time. So it's available immediately when the menu overlay accesses before the onload finishes. So hopefully that fixes it. Same error. So here we go. Should be pretty close. I think it wrote all the last 7 phases quicker than this error check. That's one nice thing in the when I'm working with some of the IDEs, you get to see the browser and you get to see it error check like right away, and you get your own quality control. Example like anti-gravity with that one. If you do something in Chrome, it'll put a blue box around it and you can actually see it in there testing it. Whereas I haven't seen Claude Code. I haven't seen anything where they're doing a testing live in front of you with a browser. So I bet that's just around the corner for them, because it's like Anthropic. They're on their A game. They are, to me, they're the best, right? Right now, that it's amazing. A year or two ago, ChatGPT just kind of dominated everything, and now it's like Anthropic, Claude Code. They've just focused on doing the best at coding, and they are just the best. I've written a book with their artifacts, and that's fantastic as well. I think everything they do with writing is great. Coding is great. Anthropic, the co-work, that's getting there. I eventually see them trying to like catch Cursor. Cursor still has them on the planning side of things, but as far as like the price that you can code for, it's much cheaper just to go the Claude Code route. So, all right, when we come back, I'm going to hit the start button. So I don't want to make everyone wait anymore. So I'm going to go take a break while this thing processes. And when we come back, hopefully we can hit the play button and it runs. All right. All right, I'm back. Let's test this thing out. It's fixed its problems. It took about 12 minutes. That was some slow problems. So anyhow, okay, so let's get this thing started. All right, the firing works pretty good here, or the moving back and forth. It's not really too difficult here to, oops, I lost a life here. You can see that up there. It's coming at me pretty good. Probably want this to come more almost at me. So I see some changes I want to make. So I got 6,600 points. I kind of like them coming straight at me, just not going off the screen. Make it a little bit more difficult. I'd like those two arrows to be a little closer to the fire button, kind of center all this. So let's go make some changes in Claude Code. So let's tell it, okay, so put the arrows next to the fire button in the middle, right? And have the enemy ships come directly at me to make it more difficult. So let's see what that does. All right, so let's see if it knows that. I said put the arrows next to the fire button. I don't know, fire in the middle, and have the enemy ships come directly at me. Okay, so that should be good enough. It should be smart enough to see that. So, okay, so let's process those changes. We'll come back here. Let's go ahead and hit stop on this. Okay. So we can relaunch the Flutter once that's done. All right, there we go. We're all set there. So let's see what it says. It's reading 2 files. Okay, so my experience with this is once you get going and once you start just tweaking it, it goes pretty quick. But, that was a pretty good little retro video game there, kind of like 1983-ish. All right, so it says now it's going to make demons dive directly at the player instead of straight down. Okay, good. So make that a little bit more difficult. It was kind of going off the screen. We probably could have went there forever. So some of this stuff is kind of difficult because you're working with a mouse instead of a touch. So I need to set the developer mode up on my phones. That way I can just test it straight to the phone. Okay, so let's see, done. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try this. Back in Android Studio. Minimize that a little bit here. Hit the play button. All right. Let's see if it's got it fixed. See if we got those demons diving at us quicker. Here's a Flutter. There we go. Let's go start. Oh, there you go. That's kind of nice. I like that. There you go. Oh, see, it's coming right at us. I don't know if that's any harder. Oh. Oh, man. That is much tougher. That's a lot better. I like it. That's more 1983 retro arcade right there. Oh, now I just want to get out of their way. They were going to kill me. So that's pretty cool. Let's get them. Uh-oh. Oh, it got me. One more. Uh-oh. Oh, man. I'm not getting out of that. Okay, there it goes. Reinitializer abort. High score. That's pretty cool. You got the little green screen here. Kind of Oregon Trailish. So if I date myself. So system breach, game over. That's pretty cool. I didn't tell it to do that. That's pretty neat. Kind of that futuristic, outer space tech movie there. So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a little different than our traditional, but, put down in the comments what you'd like me to do next. And hopefully you like and subscribe. And we'll figure out what we're going to do tomorrow. Maybe we'll do Oregon Trail, the old classic, right? So, all right. Thanks. Have a good night. Bye-bye.